So I want to tell you that I'm still growing through this and I'm learning. So this is my episode of I'm learning, and I'm learning what healing is, or what God is finally, I think, revealing to me what healing is. So just a fair warning, we will talk about sexual assault as a topic and not go into any detail, but I just want to give that warning out for all my SA survivors and all of my suicide survivors or people who have struggled with ideation. Trigger warning, that stuff will be talked about on this episode. But for now, we're just gonna dive into it, and I promise you it's not gonna be in depth, it's not gonna be in detail, but it will be mentioned. All right, so trigger warning is there. So today, I feel like today is March the 31st, 2025, and I feel like I'm finally learning what healing is, and Holy Spirit kind of took me down this beautiful place in prayer with him this morning and conversation, and I think for the first time in my life, accepting what healing is, what healing is not. And so I've been going through, if you follow my testimony, a 17-year process of unlearning from parental neglect, parental abuse, a lot of emotional wounds, and just complex trauma, having sickle cell disease, and being a sexual assault survivor and a suicide attempt survivor. So life for me now, adding on to that, has been now recognizing that I will not be able to, I understand now that I'm coming into the understanding that the likelihood of me having children in the traditional sense, with my body being able to carry a child, may not happen. And so I'm dealing with also the grief of that. And I've had to fight and struggle with this idea of not keeping a tally of so many things in my life that have gone wrong or that I'm having to overcome, and keep them all into this one big pile that signals or that says that I'm not enough. And so this morning, as I was sitting with Holy Spirit and I was just kind of talking with him, he gave me something that I felt was very important for me to share. And it's this understanding of healing. And so throughout currently I'm in a season of fasting and prayer, and I'm 20 days in, or at the halfway mark of a 40-day fast that I'm doing corporately with my church. And part of the healing process that I am going through is him teaching me how to heal from overindulgence, or what the Bible specifically calls gluttony. And so a lot of times, within a lot of church contexts, especially what we consider or call Black church, you really don't hear a lot of conversations on overindulgence and gluttony, because part of our emotional arsenal as Black people is culturally centered around food and the sharing of food as culture. But where I begin to get off track in my upkeep of my temple, where Holy Spirit is convicting me, is starting with overindulgence. And then I recognized how many other areas overindulgence was in my life. So it began to unpack in so many places. So it is the temptation. Healing from overindulgence is not just staying there. It is first recognizing that you have a problem, that you go outside of, you do too much, you may say too much, honoring the fact that there are limits, and then not going outside of those limits and making excuses for it. So overindulgence, you are allowed pleasure, but sometimes pleasure begins to grow and move outside of the place where our boundary, and the place where maybe Holy Spirit has kind of asked us to, hey, watch that. And so I've had to watch my conversation and not overindulge in too much talking. He's chastised me on not overindulging, of course, with food, not overindulging my own personal business before I feel like it's time, as a place to connect with people. And so Holy Spirit has really been bringing that to my light and to attention. But also this morning, he worked me through this beautiful place that I want to bring to you, and teaching that it's not just being aware or cognizant of your tendency to overindulge. What you're healing to be able to do is to learn how to accept your portion. And that thing began like a cascade of thoughts and feelings that he began to just download, because I recognize that, for instance, healing from sexual assault is not only healing from the memory of what happened to you, it's learning to feel safe in your body. Healing from suicidal ideation is not just I want to not be at the place anymore where I want to commit suicide. Healing is also, I want to get to the place where I know what it is to live happy and to live with the ups and downs of life. So I'm not just healing from a thing, I'm healing to experience this. So I'm not just healing from gossiping and talking too much and doing too much with my words. I'm also healing to understand how to put stops in my language, or to give myself proper boundaries that make me assess what I'm saying. So I'm not just healing from something, I'm healing to be able to do something. And I think that, like, for me with suicide ideation, I wasn't just healing to feel happy, I was healing to understand how to make space for joy. And man, that has been one of the biggest revelations about healing in general, is that I'm not healing to stop a behavior. I'm healing to understand how to make room and how to start a behavior. And Holy Spirit has really he's been doing the inner work in your girl. And when I feel it's appropriate, I want to share it with you. So we got about 4 more minutes together before this I've learned and I'm learning nugget ends. But I truly am learning in the process of understanding that there's this song, I believe that it's Travis Green has, where he says, I will make room for you. Or is it Jonathan McReynolds? I can't remember which one. I will make room for you, Jonathan. I think it's Jonathan. Yeah. But, it's Jonathan. Being able to make room for God is not just about doing away with the behavior that we don't like. It's also inviting in what he wants us to receive. And that's what true deliverance is. Like right now, I'm grieving the idea or the notion that becoming a mother the way I thought it would happen, more than likely it's not going to happen because of the capacity and the limitations of my physical temple with having sickle cell disease. But I'm also now having to grieve what is not going to happen in the image that I thought and in the way that I thought, but then making room to then accept that what if there's another way. And so one of the reasons why healing can be tricky is because you're learning to work through what isn't happening and what is happening all at the same time. And God needs us to be patient with ourselves and kind to ourselves as we work through that process. So I just want you to ask yourself a question, like, what are you recognizing that may be a problem, but what do you now need to make room to start to happen for you? So, whatever it is, whatever it can be, my mind is trying to search for more examples, but I believe the Lord wants to be invited into the process of helping us to make room for more of his spirit, more of his glory. If you have an attachment to things that bring you pleasure and you know it's outside of the boundary that God has, how can you then make room for experiencing more of the glory and more of the presence of God? Those are the questions that I think he wants us to ask instead of being hung up on our sin. And where the accuser of the brethren, Satan is an accuser, what he likes to do is keep us really bound to like the version of us that keeps going back to the pain, and keep us blind to the part of God that's saying there's no condemnation for you for the pain that exists, but I'm also trying to show you what else could exist in the place of that pain. And so I think about like unforgiveness, for example. That's another big one. I wrestled with that for a long time, and in seasons constantly have to wash myself with the word and make sure that I'm okay with my forgiveness journey. And I have to ask myself, have I made room for human imperfection? So it's not so much of me needing to forgive them as much as I also need to make room in my life for the fact that people are just deeply imperfect, and so am I. And so that's the I'm learning nugget today. I just wanted to drop that in your lap. This is Alexis M. Lott over at heyletsheal.com. I'm hanging out. I am a certified Christian life coach and a licensed minister. I absolutely love helping God's chosen get through relationship issues. And so one-on-one coaching is something that I just kind of love. It's something that I do. If you want to book a discovery call with me, just go to heyletsheal.com. Love you, mean it, and there's nothing you can do about it. Bye.